afternoon, Attorney Cook. Were we able to get a Spanish interpreter?
I am not sure. We're going to have a total of 3 people. I know now. I asked for one a while back, and then it turns out 2 more people. Your person, and then 1 more person at Y Street. So we have 3. So I hope so. I also need a sign language person. That came in kind of late, so we'll see. And I don't know. I'm not even sure what the status of the conflict attorney is. So it may be we may have some resets today. I hope not.
Okay.
But okay, we're trying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bridgewaters.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
And our special addition to the team, Mike McLean, is on board there.
Welcome aboard.
He's been around the county a while.
I know he has, but it's always good to see you,
Yeah.
Mr. McLean.
He's been around the earth a while, I think.
Don't you tell nobody.
Well, only a little bit longer than me, so I can pick at him.
Hold on a minute. All right, ready to start?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Yeah, before we begin, I was just wanting to check on three things. We do have three people who need a Spanish language interpreter. I was wondering if one had been found.
Yes,
Two-
Mr. Cook, we have Miss Chauncey will be logging in.
Okay, and I think I requested one. As it turned out, there are two other people. One at Rice Street and also at ACDC. So
She's signing in now.
the second, and this was I did not become aware of this until very, very late, was a sign language expert. That might be a bigger ask, but that was just I was not aware of that till I don't know about 45 minutes ago. But if it has to be reset. The other I know we've been having some issues with conflict attorneys, and I think we have about 3 conflicts today. So I didn't know if anybody was online.
Okay, there's Miss Chancey. What about the conflict attorney? Do we have one?
I know
Okay.
Miss McLeod is out for weeks. I think she's on vacation or something, and I don't know and the other one we used, and I've forgotten her name, was not available. So we may need to put out an Indeed ad for some conflict.
Okay,
I know there's some hungry attorneys out there that
that's right. You're right about that.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's
How
all.
how many do we have that need conflicts?
I think at least 3 now.
Okay, we need to see what date they were
Yes,
booked
yes,
in.
yes.
And I'll ask them if they want to represent themselves.
Yeah.
I
They
don't
generally
like
do,
doing that.
although that's not a good idea, I don't think.
No.
Excuse me, Judge. I'll reach out to Mr. Dennis Murphy as well.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes, we
about
like
him.
Dennis. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me also, while we're talking, get the SAP reset date of August 6th.
Okay. August 6th. All right, I will read my opening and then we'll get started. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to begin the Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. And this is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's Office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and the cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will generally be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to address several matters, including bond, a possible arraignment, and a possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. We have just had the SAP reset date read to us, which is August the 6th. That is the date for review. I will also begin by reminding everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. So govern yourselves accordingly. I also want to let you know that the defendants on this calendar remind you rather that you have certain constitutional rights. And the first being that you have a right to representation. And that means that you have a right to have counsel with you today. You should know who your attorney is by now. Also, you have a right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, and or the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. Listen to your attorney and govern yourselves accordingly. So I think those are all my initial announcements. I have not been able to print the calendar, Ms. Holly, so if you can sound for me, I'll look at it here on a split screen.
Okay.
For some reason,
Now,
it's
just
not.
let me know who we have next. I'll take it from there.
Okay.
Excuse me, can we go into the breakout session with the Spanish interpreter and with Attorney Cook in courtroom 1?
When you finish with courtroom 1, court ACDC needs to go into a breakout also with a Spanish interpreter.
Okay, you ready for that, Judge?
Is this Miss Martinez in courtroom run? I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't.
It is, yes.
Okay, yeah, you can move me over if that's fine with the court.
So, Jill, who do we have first?
Ms. Martinez in courtroom 1.
Yes, but I have to interview her.
Yes,
with the
she has to
interpreter.
be
Need to be interviewed first.
Right. And then ACDC needs to be interviewed also when he finished with courtroom 1.
Okay, but who can the judge take at this time?
Courtroom 2.
Okay, courtroom 2, can you let me know who we'll be hearing first?
We can go with our position number 10, Ms. Nixon.
Okay. This is position number 10, America Nixon, case number 24 CR 005008F, charged with fair evasion and possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce.
And if the appropriate controller can move me to courtroom 1 with the interpreter, that would be fine. Thank you.
All right, pre-trial. Where are you?
I'm here. Oh, goodness.
Good afternoon.
Nixon is on probation out of Gwinnett for obstruction. The Cobb County financial transaction card fraud, 2 counts. Theft of lost mislaid property, 1 out of Gwinnett County. 2023 FTA, 2021 obstruction conviction. This was jail.
Okay,
And Your Honor, that's my case.
all right.
This is
Go
an
ahead.
incident. This is
Go
an
ahead,
incident
State.
that occurred on the 22nd. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay. This is an incident that occurred on the 22nd of July. Specifically at the 5 Points MARTA station, that's Alabama Street here in downtown. The defendant was observed walking through the gate without paying the $2.50 for the fare. She followed a paying customer through the gate, and when police stopped and talked to her about it, she was not in possession of a MARTA card. Incident to her arrest, they located a small amount of marijuana on her person. So those are the 2 charges here, Your Honor. We would follow the request for pre-trial. Did you say SOB through the jail?
He did. He didn't say pre-trial.
We would request level 1, Your Honor.
She working? So go ahead. Whose case is this?
Your Honor, that's going to be me. There'd be no objection to a signature bond. What I'm trying to do, I'm using my iPhone, and this is my first session back using the iPhone as opposed to jail courtroom number 2, and it's telling me I'm in safe driving mode, but I'm at my desk, and it tells me my video is stopped, my microphone is fine. So
Right.
I'm trying to
we can't see you. We can hear you. After we finish with this, since I know who you are, I'll let you go ahead. And then after this, if you can sign out and come back in, maybe sometimes.
Mike, we know what you look like, and you know we're not missing anything.
Oh.
I got to get into courtroom 1 with my interpreter. Something's not happening. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I just had to get
Yeah,
that
Miss
in.
Grace, are you putting him in breakout so he can do his interview?
I already did. He needs to go to courtroom 1, Judge, because where's Mr. Cook at?
Mr. Cook, where are you? Are you at the jail? Or are you?
He's remote.
He's remote.
Okay.
Mr. Cook, do you see the invite? You sent him the invite, right? To join the breakout?
Judge, I'm about to step away. I'll be right back.
I know. All right. And I was asking Mr. McLean, is this defendant working, or what will be her resources? Will she
Your
be able to report to pretrial?
Currently, she doesn't have employment, but when she does try every week at the staffing company, there's a staffing company by some brand name in the Thomasville Heights area that she goes to. She's a high school graduate. She's lived in the Atlanta metro area all her life. Her address is in Stone Mountain, Tucker High School graduate. She does have the clerk has mentioned several cases, and she does have that Gwinnett hold, which she believes she'll be able to take care of pretty quickly. It's a misdemeanor matter.
Because I am slightly concerned about her returning, being able to contact her. Will she be able to report?
Right. We've got a couple of good phone numbers for her. We believe there was a mistake on the booking sheet as to 1 digit for her mother's number. And we also have a friend's number. So I think she'll be contactable.
Okay, well, I'm going to grant a signature bond so she can go to Gwinnett. So I'm going to grant a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. Released to her hold in Gwinnett. And I want her to stay away from the 5 Points MARTA.
Judge, will you also break down that bond? There are 2 charges.
Oh, $2,000 on the fair evasion and $500 on the marijuana less than an ounce. Is that one still on, State? You haven't dismissed it? No.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll just do that. And then no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
And I'll go ahead and sign out and sign right back in.
Okay.
Is that through pretrial, Your Honor?
Jail.
Jail, okay. All right.
Okay, who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 12, Ms. Rosser.
That one's mine too, Your Honor. Should I stay on for a moment?
Yeah, stay on a minute before you sign out.
Okay, position number 12 is Sheila Rosser. Case number 24 CR 005013H, charged with battery, family violence.
I'm not sure why.
She got 23 total. Open battery DV from this year. That's a pretrial case. 2019 probation, 2015 probation, 2012 probation. I think it's the same victim. I forgot how much that bond is, but it'll be revoked.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Your Honor, that's my case as well.
Oh, okay.
This is an incident from the 21st of July at 2105 Bent Creek Way, Southwest. You did hear from pretrial correctly. She currently has a bond that requires she have no contact with the same victim in this case. He was the victim in the case 24 CR 001176H. This incident specifically, police were called about an altercation on the scene. 2 different witnesses reported that they observed Mrs. Rosser and the victim in this case. His name is John Lennon, that's Jonlenon. That they were arguing over rent money when he grabbed her and threw her to the ground. The parties were separated. Both were under the influence. She struck Mr. Lennon in the face, causing scratches. Those were reported and observed by police under his left eye. They've lived together for 10 years. I did see in the system where the victim in this case has previously tried to evict Mrs. Rosser, but was unable to serve her, which is wild since they live in the same home. But this is an ongoing issue. We would request a surety bond, Your Honor, stay away from the location and have absolutely no contact with Mr.
Okay. Mr. McLean,
Your Honor, we agree that no if it,
I'm getting every other word from you, Mr. McLean.
the situation if he's evicted at his leased apartment and
Mr. McLean, I cannot understand what you're saying. I'm getting every other word, and some words I'm not getting. You're probably going to have to go ahead and sign out unless you try one more time. Let's see if we can hear you.
Okay, I'll turn the phone sideways here.
Okay.
I was going to say if he's trying to evict her and if he's on the lease and they're arguing about rent, it's really not appropriate for them to be living together anymore. She can stay elsewhere. She has a place, a friend named Doris that she can stay with. It's in another neighborhood. It's not it's the same street name, but it's not next door. It's another section. So they can stay away from each other, and she promises to do that because I discussed with her this is not working, and this is going to be a problem. She does clean apartments, Your Honor. She has a job. She's very industrious in that fashion, and she has lived in the metro area all her life. She's a high school graduate, and the most she asked her about the most bond she could possibly afford would be about $300, which would be about a $3,000 surety bond at the most.
All right. I will grant her a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order that she stay away from the Battle Creek Way location, find somewhere else to live. No further contact with the victim. Did not write his name down. What was his name, ASG Allen?
John Lennon, and that's Jonlenon.
I should have remembered that, John Lennon. And no further contact with him. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And then to stay away. 3,000 surety.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll sign out now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Can you repeat that bond? I'm sorry.
Yes, 3,000 surety.
Okay. All right. Next we have position number 14, Ms. Savoy.
Position number 14 is Julie Savoy. Case number 24 CR 005014J. Charged with fare evasion and criminal trespass.
Second arrest, resident of Michigan, 2020 battery dismissed. Jail with the recommendation. What number is this?
14.
I thought they said 14.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, 14.
Okay, it's Julie Savoy.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
That's the correct history. I was just looking for my 14 on my calendar.
Right.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
All right. Is this you, ASG Allen? You have the whole calendar by yourself? Can't hear you. You're on mute.
My computer just went wonky. No, I don't have the whole calendar.
Oh, I thought maybe you did. Well, I think we're still under whatever was happening with Microsoft. Who knows?
Right? So this is a pretty simple case. One moment. This occurred on the 22nd of July. Again, similar to one of the last cases, this was at the Garnett Station at 235 Peachtree Street. The defendant was observed pushing through the fare gate without paying $2.50, which is the required fare. When her information was reviewed, it was also discovered that she has 2 active suspensions from MARTA, which are both a year long. One just issued on the 14th of July and one on the 3rd of July. So her charges are fare evasion and criminal trespass. We would follow the recommendation of pretrial, Your Honor, and just request a stay away order.
All right.
And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Hi. Was this Mr. McLean's? I bet.
Right.
If he's signing back in. Where's PD? Oh, PD Cook's in the breakout.
They gonna get everybody here.
I bet it's Mr. McLean's case.
Is he-
Yeah.
He should be back in by now.
Miss Grace, is he attempting to sign in?
I'll find out who he paid lawyers.
No, he isn't.
Oh,
Where'd
boy.
he go?
Is he for one of y'all people?
Yana, he might be with the Spanish interpreter. Do you want to go?
No, that's PD Cook. That's PD Cook with the Spanish interpreter. PD McLean was having connection issues and he was supposed to be signing out and signing right back in.
Oh, so he's having internet problems, network problems.
At least we're not at the airport, but
All right.
Ooh,
If he's for her, you wanna bring her over here? That's what I'm saying.
let's see. There he comes.
So what do you want? What do
Mr.
you want to
McLean.
happen If that's for her.
I see his name there. They're gonna all need to go down to the jail. Mr. McLean. Well, whatever is going on where he is, let's see. Now we can see you. Let's see if we can hear you.
You're on mute.
You take it off mute. Can't hear you.
There we are.
Okay. Say something now. I bet you didn't sign back in with audio.
Oh, Father.
Your lips are moving, but we can't hear you. Need I say sign out and in and make sure you sign back in with audio. Miss Grace, can you tell?
No, ma'am, I can't, but he needs to sign back out and sign back in,
I
unfortunately.
knew you were going to say that. I know. I was trying to prevent you from saying it.
Attorney Parker, who is your client, just so I can go on and pull the history?
Yeah, maybe
That
we can
is,
do it again.
Russell, the Zadani Russell.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe we'll take your case, Mr. Parker. We can hear you loud and clear.
Position 13, Your Honor.
Okay. Deputy, can we do that until Mr. McLean can be heard? Mr. McLean, you may have to go back out again and make sure you sign in with audio.
What were you asking, Your Honor?
Can we have Mr. Parker, the private case, his client,
Position number 13.
13?
One second, I have to, yeah.
Yeah, this is fair. Your Honor, we're trying to, they're over at courtroom 1. I think they were in the breakout session over there.
Uh-huh.
We're trying to find out if they're finished with that breakout session over there.
Well, do you have position 13 in courtroom?
Well, she's over, that person's over in courtroom 1. They can't be over here with the rest of the inmates.
Oh, I get it. Okay, sorry about that. I understand now.
So we, Officer Norris just went over there to find out. He'll be back, shortly.
Okay. It's just one of those days.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I'm gonna blame it all on the airport.
Yeah.
Or Microsoft. Mr. McLean, did you go out and come back and we still can't hear you? Because you're off mute, but we can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Nope.
Your Honor, this is Miss Russell right here.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready for position number 13?
Yes.
Okay, position number 13, Zanaya, I may be pronouncing it wrong, Russell, case number 24 CR 005011A, charged with battery, family violence, and 2 charges of cruelty to children, 3rd degree.
First arrest.
Great.
Your Honor, this is my case.
Okay.
This is an incident that occurred on the 22nd of July at about 6 p.m. at 1050 Buckingham Terrace in Fairburn. One of the original charges that came in was a criminal trespass that's been dismissed by the state. The charges you should have in front of you are battery, family violence, and 2 counts of cruelty to a child in the 3rd degree. Police on the scene spoke to both individuals. Both reported there'd been a physical altercation. The defendant admitted grabbing her husband, Gary Russell, by the shirt during an argument as he threw her into the closet. She claims that she walked away and called 911. Mr. Russell was bleeding from his nose. He reported that he'd been struck by Mrs. Russell with her fists, causing him to bleed. He reported grabbing her arms to stop her from continuing to assault him. She then began to throw his items around the house. 2 juvenile children with the initials MF and AF were present, and their names are in the accusation. We would follow the recommendation of pretrial, Your Honor. There should be no contact or no violent contact. Let me see. Our office has been in touch with the victim, and I believe he's on Zoom, so if you would sound for him in a moment. He was not cooperative and didn't want to speak about what happened, but said that this has not happened before, and he wants to continue contact. This would be a case we move forward with based on the evidence, based on statements on scene and people's demeanor at the time. So we would ask for no violent contact, Your Honor, and a bond that's appropriate. We'll use your discretion. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Russell, do you wish to address the court today? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand for me, Mr. Russell. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. 2 questions for you. Are you in fear of Miss I forgot her name. I didn't write it down. I apologize.
Dejanay Russell.
Dejanay Russell. Okay. And that's your spouse?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you in fear of her?
No, ma'am.
How long have you been married?
We've been married since March 29th of this year.
March 29th of 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you all have any children together?
No, ma'am, not at this moment.
So the two children in the accusation are not your children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Were you residing with her at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want to have any further contact with her?
I do. Do you care to hear my explanation on why?
Not particularly. I mean, this is a bond hearing, unless this is not the trial. So very limited in what I would like to hear. More so is, will you be safe? And also, will these children be safe? And what environment that needs to be?
Yes, ma'am. Also, the kids will be safe. I will be safe. I'm not in fear, and I don't feel like the kids are in fear of their life as well. This is a safe environment. It's just a misunderstanding at this point on what took place.
All right. Who's Jerry Goggins?
That's her mother.
Her mother. Was she at the scene?
No, ma'am. She responded later.
Okay. All right, Ms. Goggins, with all due respect, I will not be hearing from you today. I'm only hearing from witnesses or victims at the scene of the incident. And so we do have to keep moving. And I'm just wanting to know about the victim if he would like to have further contact, okay? All right. Mr. Parker, Attorney Parker.
Yes, Your Honor, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Russell, please mute yourself. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Attorney Parker. We're getting to you slowly but surely.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Russell, 32 years of age, Metro Atlanta resident, employed by the city for approximately 4 years. As the husband stated, this is an unusual incident that occurred. She is a high school graduate, no previous history, has 2 children, but I believe she's also currently pregnant and high risk, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
So she is presently pregnant. And again, she's not a flight risk. She's not a significant risk to intimidating witnesses, the obstruction of justice, fleeing. She'll show up for court. I mean, she meets all the Ayala factors, Your Honor. We ask that the fact that she has no prior history, that she be granted a signature bond for this incident.
Okay. And Mr. Russell, or is this, you all are expecting a baby together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, just for clarity, the paperwork that we have say that the argument that was happening was about Mr. Russell talking about sleeping with another woman, and that's what sparked this argument. They've been married since March, and they're now welcoming a baby. I wonder if maybe Mrs. Goggins' input might be valuable, seeing as their relationship is so fresh and somewhat volatile. I can't imagine talking about sleeping with other women in front of my pregnant wife.
Well, I'm sure that's why there was an altercation. I just, Miss Goggins, let me ask you one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you live with these parties?
No, I don't, but I'm around them quite often. I help with the kids.
All right, you have the kids now. You can put your hand down.
Yes,
all right. And so do you know of any similar incidents such as this one that occurred?
This has never happened. They're a young couple. They just got married. A lot is on both of their shoulders. They just bought a new home, and it's just a case of, they're working very hard to get their life started, and just tired. Words were said that were just just mean words. It's just all, we should not even be here in this situation. They're very good citizens. They're great parents. I'm always with them. I always help them with the kids when they need to work 12 hours, whatever the case may be. This is just a total mistake. This will never happen again. This has never happened. Nobody's in danger. There's a lot of love around the kids and a lot of love around them.
Okay. Well, it's exact. I couldn't have said it any better. That's exactly what we want is the love, maybe some marital counseling so they can control their emotions.
Yes,
with
ma'am.
the new baby coming, new house, all those things can be stressful. But we
Yes.
do want to make sure, as you say, that we don't see them again down here. And we want to make sure that Miss Russell has a safe pregnancy.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to grant the signature bond. That'll be a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. And I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I'm going to order no further violent contact with her husband, Mr. Gary Russell.
Okay.
And please encourage them to get some counseling or some help. Okay.
I will. I will.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Your
Thank
Honor,
you.
Your Honor, may I?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Parker. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Your Honor. Just so you understand, the young lady is a LEO
She's what now?
with
He's
LEO.
explaining that she's a law enforcement officer, Your Honor. I mean, I
Both
don't,
are.
how's it gonna get any better at this point?
Both are.
Both are.
They know
Yes.
better. That's worse. Keep
Oh,
talking.
that's even worse. They definitely need to get some help. That's, well, I'm letting her sign her own signature bond through the jail, so she should be out pretty quickly. And I understand that's why she is in a separate room for her safety. For both reasons, pregnancy and that. So she should be out as quick as the jail can get her out.
Okay.
Your Honor, she has 3 charges. We need to break this down.
Oh, with the,
Yes, I'm
Let's-
sorry. Battery and 2 cruelty charges.
right, let's do 2,000 on the battery, 250 on each of the cruelties.
Okay.
Okay,
What's the contact?
no further violent contact.
So they can both still be in the home?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
Okay.
Question, Judge, what about the criminal trespass?
Oh, I don't have a
Those are,
criminal.
those are dismissed by the state.
It was an NOD submitted.
All right, we're clear. All minds are clear.
Yes.
All right, this case is concluded. Good luck to you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
All right, thank you.
Okay, who do we have next?
Do we want to go back to 14, Ms. Savoy?
We can. It looks like Mr. McLean is here on 2 devices and they're moving simultaneously. So I'd rather have him on 2 devices than none, okay?
I think it's just not working on my laptop, but seems to be doing fine on the phone now.
We can hear you good, okay?
Very good.
And thank you, ASG Allen. You know, I thought about it. What are those initials? And then it hit me when you said it. You know how something is farthest from your brain at that moment? Thank you. All right.
Okay, we're going back to position number 14. This is Julie Savoy, case number.
Who's talking?
I was wondering, can we go back into the breakout session with Mr. Cook and the Spanish interpreter, please?
Go back into the breakout?
Yes, because he wasn't done interviewing, we was interrupted.
Oh, no. Okay. Miss Grace, what's going on there?
Let me check, because they're not in the main session, so let me see.
Okay.
Courtroom 1 needs to go back in, no problem.
Okay,
I'll put
happy
courtroom 1 back
Halloween.
in.
Okay, this is Julie Savoy, case number 24 CR 005014J, charged with fair evasion and criminal trespass.
All right, I remember the case. So the PDs need to go. Mr. McLean?
That'll be my case, Ms. Savoy, yes.
Okay, I've heard the testimony from the state. I know that she had the 2 active suspensions from MARTA, and this is her second arrest. And that she's a resident of Michigan. So I don't know if you were able to hear. Did you hear the state's presentation? Maybe I should ask that first.
Not the whole thing, Your Honor, but I did discuss the case thoroughly with her. She does intend to keep up with court, and she's got resources back in Michigan. She needs to go home. She's homeless here, and she's going to go to Gateway and ask them. They have a program. I don't think it's called Traveler's Aid, but they have a program where they help people financially get on a bus and go back home. She needs to go back to access her family resources in Michigan so that she can stay on top of this case. I would point to, or emphasize rather would be the better term, emphasize the nature of the case as being a justification for us allowing her to have a signature bond. The 2 suspensions, one is in effect from July 3rd to September 1st. The other one is in effect from July 14th to September the 12th. And here this occurs on 7/22 regardless. And we had a very good discussion about how to stay on top of understanding what the suspension is, what it means, and she's not going to be at MARTA. She understands that.
How long has she been in Georgia?
Let's see, a year, basically a year. She's been homeless. It just hasn't worked out for her. She's unemployed here. She is a high school graduate.
All right, so we have good contacts in Michigan. I'm always concerned when they leave and go to another state, but
Yeah,
that
that's
contact, she'll be back for court. All right, she only has a second arrest. I will grant a $3,000 signature bond. I'm gonna grant that signature bond through pretrial. And I guess she's a level 1, Mr. Howard, or 2.
I said jail. She's from Michigan.
Okay, well, we'll send her through jail as long as Mr. McLean has good contact information.
I've got one. That's her mom, Roberta. Got a good phone number.
All right, I'm gonna give you a signature bond slightly reluctantly, Miss Savoy, with the agreement and understanding that you will return back to Georgia for court. But unfortunately, you cannot take MARTA from the airport, so you'll have to use Uber or some other ways to get around when you come back. Because you will stay away from MARTA. I think this was the Garnett Street station. So find another way to get around. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. So that's 3,000 SOB jail.
Are you breaking it down?
On the fare evasion, 2,500, and then 500 on the criminal trespass.
Thank you.
All right, that should conclude that case.
Next, we have position number 18, Ms. Williams.
Position number 18, and this is a dual arrest. Teresa Williams, case number 24 CR 005017G, charged with battery family violence.
Second arrest, 2017 suspended license.
And that's my case, Your Honor.
Okay.
This incident, both parties were arrested. They're both on the calendar today. The co-defendant is Siobhan Barton, I believe. On the scene, which was a store, specifically, I don't know that I wrote it down. 2900 Lauren Ridge Way in East Point at about 3:40 in the morning. The defendant in front of you, Mrs. Williams, reported that she just got off work and was at the store to pick up something when her boyfriend that she currently lives with, Mr. Barton, showed up at the store and saw her and punched her in the face. Mr. Barton was spoken with. He reports that at 3 a.m. he realized she was not home. And so he went to the store to buy a cigar and saw her. He reported, he said, "Look what I found," before she struck him. And he says he responded by striking her back. Mrs. Williams was seen to have a bruise on her cheek as a result of being struck. She also was noted to have a very large bruise on her right leg. Both of the individuals were arrested, probably based on there being no other witnesses. Although I would argue it's a little strange for a defendant, Mr. Barton specifically, to leave the house at 3 a.m. because he couldn't find her, and the response to be that they end up punching each other. We would ask for no further contact, and I don't know who the home is in whose name, but I guess we can talk about that as we move forward. She's got no history, so pretrial level 1 would be all right with us.
All right. And whose case is this? Mr. McLean?
As I understood it, there was going to be a conflict, and was Mr. Barton represented by our office? Can we check with Mr. Cook?
Yeah, who's representing Mr. Barton? PD Cook?
If he's not represented by PD Cook, I can certainly represent her.
Well, let's do her case. We're representing her. We'll worry about him when I get to it.
Let me step aside for just a moment to get that paperwork.
Okay.
Okay. Because I had believed that was going to be a
Conflict case.
where did it go? But yeah, I just don't have that.
Don't?
I think we're going to have to check with Mr. Cook. I think it's going to turn out to be that solution.
PD Cook?
Yes.
Is he still on? Or is he still in the breakout?
I think he's probably still in the breakout. That's the problem.
Do we even, well, I guess if he's in the breakout, we can't see him signed on.
Right. I don't think he even gets chat while he's in breakout.
Miss Grace, is he still in the breakout?
Yes, ma'am. And I reached out to Mr. Murphy, no response.
Uh-oh. I feel like we are
We're stuck.
Delta Airlines today.
We are.
And Miss Bridgewater, whatever's going on, is there a message about any intermittent service for the county?
I haven't seen any.
Forward me the calendar again. I've done it 3 times and it won't come through to me for some reason.
I just sent it.
It won't come through. Sometimes I have problems getting something from the county if they have their firewalls up higher or do have something going on. And it takes like 3 or 4 times for it to eventually come. Then they all come at once.
Excuse me, Judge, I tried sending it to Miss Chauncey as well, and she didn't receive it, so it must be
There's something going on at the county. Okay,
Yes,
she
ma'am.
can't.
No,
Right.
she didn't get it.
Nope, they won't. They're not letting anything. go out or come in, or it's very difficult. Nope. I'll just keep letting Ms. Bridgewater read for me. Anybody else we want to take? Nope.
What
Well,
was
it's
the bond
hard.
for the last person?
The PDs haven't presented yet. Because Mr. McLean doesn't have her information.
Right. And I think that he did a full interview probably with Mr. Barton, which would mean we got to stick with that configuration of representation there.
So, Your Honor, I'd like to offer a signature bond through the jail to this young lady. Can someone please talk to her about whether or not she's got a place to stay that's not at the same location? Some dude showing up at a grocery store and punching me in my eye at 3 a.m. because I'm not at home is a problem. This is ridiculous, guys.
Yeah. Courtroom 2, can you unmute? Ms. Williams, do you have another place to stay?
Yes, ma'am.
You do? Okay.
We would just require stay away and one-time police escort to get her belongings at that location. Just FYI, don't hang out with good dudes that show up at the store and punch you in your face because you're not where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's, she just has the one charge, right?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe it's her first arrest.
And for, right. So let's do a $2,500 signature bond. I'm gonna do it through the jail. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. Stay away from the incident location. And no further contact with Mr. Barton right now. And I think that's it.
One-time escort, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry, the one-time escort, yes. And don't go back without that police escort to get your belongings. Arrange that when you get out. All right? Okay.
Next, we have position number 2, Ms. Austin.
Position number 2 is Damber Yvonne Alston, case number 24 CR 005004B, charged with battery family violence.
Unless it's a conflict, that's going to be Mr. Cook.
So who all do you have? Just so we'll know.
I know, right?
Rod Summer. I've got Leonardo Simister. I've got Roderick Summers.
Oh, you don't have like 1 through 5 or 6 through, they're mixed up?
I've Nixon through the rest that aren't conflicts. Anybody that's not a conflict. He took the first 9, I took the last 9, and then we struck.
So the last half of the calendar, I just got the calendar. I'm printing now.
Right. I'm just looking at the pull sheet. So I had Nixon, Puerta, Rosser, would be Russell, Savoy, Summers, Valdez turned out to be a conflict. Teresa Williams turns out to be a conflict, and then Simister.
Can we do Simister?
We could do that. Sure.
Position number 16.
Okay. Courtroom 2, can we do 16 Simister?
Yes, I gotta just pull him out the back real quick. Give me one
Okay.
second.
All right. All right, what is going on today?
Yeah, your mic muted. Let me mute you.
No, I can hear.
No, I'm not muted. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Mike. Gotcha.
Judge, are you gonna call this one or did you want me to?
Go ahead.
This is position number 16, Leonardo Simister. Case number 24 CR 005015Y. Charged with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass.
17 total, 2023 battery. Appears to have an open case out of Gwinnett, criminal damage to property, battery. Open ag assault out of Fulton, ag assault DV, battery DV, 22 SC 184-826. 2021 simple battery DV conviction, 2021 battery conviction, and a 2010 battery conviction. That's all.
All right, Miss Grace,
Yes, ma'am.
can you tell PD Cook to hurry up, come on out to breakout room so we can get through with this calendar sometime by tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay,
Your Honor,
All
Mr. Simester's my case.
okay.
You just heard from pre-trial that there's a significant criminal history. Specifically, the victim in this case, her name is Courtney Walker. Mr. Simester has a 2021 simple battery conviction. He was actually arrested for battery, simple battery, and hindering her 911 call. He was allowed to plead to just simple battery. So he's got a conviction for that out of Gwinnett County, a second one in 2021. So 2 in 2021 on the same victim. Both sentence orders say to have no contact with her. And he has 3 open cases, Your Honor. One from June of 2021. That's a felony in Gwinnett County, criminal damage to property for felony level damage to her vehicle. He's out on bond with a special condition to have no contact with Mrs. Walker. You heard about the aggravated assault in the DA's office with Superior Court. That is an open aggravated assault strangulation against Miss Courtney Walker. The bond prohibits this gentleman from having contact with her and is required that he be on an ankle monitor. And in addition, he's got an open new battery from March of last year in Gwinnett, again, on Courtney Walker for punching her in the eye. He is out on bond as of March 2023, again, with the requirement that he have no contact with Ms. Walker. This incident that is in front of you, Your Honor, occurred on June the 10th. It was a delayed arrest because Ms. Walker was trying to figure out what she wanted to do. Officers eventually obtained a warrant after they reviewed body cam and her 911 call and that recording. At 9 a.m. on the 10th of June, police responded to the Sonesta Suites in Alpharetta. That's 1325 North Point Drive to 341, excuse me, can't say numbers. The victim, Mrs. Courtney Walker, reported that she'd been slapped in the face and she was seen to have redness on her cheek. She reported that she and the defendant had previously lived together and that they had prior domestic violence arrests. She felt conflicted about getting him in trouble. He's not a bad guy, she said. She said she'd like to call her mom and see what maybe she should do because she didn't want him to have to get the police involved. She just wanted him to leave. Officer went and reviewed the actual 911 call. The victim can be heard on the 911 call saying, look at my face. I can't believe what you did to my fucking face. The defendant can be heard screaming at her. Her phone is then taken and thrown. She says on the 911 call that her phone is now broken. So the state has moved forward with the battery, Your Honor, as well as a criminal trespass for damaging the phone. In the 911 call, she says that her phone's screen is broken during that incident. We would ask for absolutely no contact, for $10,000 surety bond on each of the counts in this case, Your Honor. This is a blatant disregard for the order of the court. This is a victim who clearly is in a cycle and cannot make a choice to keep herself safe. And this is the defendant who is obviously taking advantage of that. You have 3 open cases that you've just heard about, Your Honor. All 3 of them have orders for no contact. And one of those is a felony in Fulton County strangulation. We have spoken to the victim. She reported she wasn't able to talk at the moment because she's at work. We will continue to be in contact with her and make sure she's got the support she needs. But I imagine at this point, it might just be nice to have a day without any communication, since it seems like that's an issue. Thank you.
Okay. And this happened on June the 10th.
June the 10th, after reviewing the 911 call and the body cam, investigator in Alpharetta with the DV unit obtained warrants. The victim, again, her name is Courtney Walker. If you would sound for her in case she decided to join us. Thank you.
All right, Courtney Walker. Courtney Walker. All right. Go ahead, PD.
McLean.
McLean.
I was trying to find the part where she did look at videos, and it does say that it wasn't so much a direct quote of the dispatcher saying they heard him, because that would be an issue of identifying whether he was screaming at her while she was on a 911. It said that she said that he was screaming. So they agree. He agrees totally that they should not have any contact whatsoever. He has a job. He believe works in forklifting, and let me double check that. That's in the forklift driver in the Brazelton area. Your Honor, surety bond would be appropriate in the neighborhood of something like 3,000, 3,500, or 4,000 total. That's a bond that he could make. He will be far, far away from her. They don't live together, and he has family that's going to be helping him try to hire a lawyer to deal with all this.
Okay. We have the 2 charges. And I'm going to give a surety bond. And that's going to be 5,000 on the battery. And on the criminal trespass, 5,000. I started to make the battery cash bond since he's a repeat offender. And he can't seem to not keep catching cases with her as
Did not object to that, Your Honor.
the same victim. When is he gonna stop? So let me make the battery 5,000 cash, and then the criminal trespass 3,000 surety split bond.
The criminal trespass will be what, Your Honor?
3,000 surety.
Okay, so we're looking at $8,000.
Correct.
Okay.
And he is to have no further contact with her, and I mean no further contact. Stay 200 yards away, 2 football fields. Don't contact her by the computer, by social media, by friends, or any means, or else he can come back to jail. And stay away from her wherever she may be, work, home, or anywhere. So that's going to be the order of the court. Did I say no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond? Not sure.
Put it.
Think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
That's it.
Okay.
Can we do position number 4, Mr. Burns?
Okay.
And Your Honor, that's a co-defendant case. Position number 4 and 5 are husband and wife.
Okay.
This is Mrs. Burns.
I do not, but I do not know if they found a conflict attorney or not. I don't.
Keith, did you represent number 3, Barton?
Yes, and I wrote a request for the conflict for
Teresa Williams, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yep.
Your Honor, Mrs. Burns said she'll go pro se.
She said what?
She would like to go pro se.
Judge, it's a first arrest for both of them, just FYI. So.
Let's get it. Okay, both are first arrest. And she wants to go pro se? All right. So we'll take her first since she's in the chair.
And Mr. Burns is in courtroom 1 now.
Judge, are you gonna read the,
Yes, I have a calendar now. 24 CR 005005C. And that's, oh wait, I'm reading the wrong one, aren't I?
Position number 5.
5, sorry about that. 24 CR 005019C, Trisha Burns, charged with 1 count of battery family violence. And they say it's a first arrest. Go ahead, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that occurred on the 22nd of July at about 6:50 p.m. at 6193 Tennis Drive. That's again in Fairburn. On the scene was Mrs. Burns in front of you. She was at that residence with her husband, Mr. Burns, and I believe his children. We only have a date of birth for one in the police documents. The child named Kayla, who is 18, was evidently arguing with her father. Mrs. Burns, Mr. Burns's wife, got between the two of them, and an assault occurred, a physical altercation occurred. Mrs. Burns reported that she was strangled and that the 18-year-old daughter laughed at her after she was strangled by her husband. Co-defendant Mr. Burns says the victim got between, co-defendant Burns says Mrs. Burns got between he and his daughter as they argued and pushed her or mushed her in the forehead, saying she was being disrespectful. Mr. Burns claimed he just pushed his wife out of the way to de-escalate the issue, and she started scratching him on his arm. So Mr. Burns in position number 4 has a visible injury to his arm, and Mrs. Burns has obvious redness on her neck from being grabbed by the neck by her husband, Mr. Burns. She's charged with a battery for causing visible injury, Your Honor. We would agree with the recommendation of pre-trial, seeing as this is her first arrest. I would love for someone to inquire with Mrs. Burns as to whether or not she's got somewhere else to go, and what we should do as far as a stay away order. Certainly, the state would request no contact, seeing as doesn't seem like a fairly matched situation in this home. 18-year-old gets to jump in and assault people, but we'll leave that up to the court. Maybe some questions can be answered. We haven't been able to reach out to Mr. Burns or Mrs. Burns because they're both there.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm representing Mr. Burns. It just fell almost randomly that she would be conflicted out, and there's obviously no conflict attorney. If there's no objection from the state, I'd like to ask her a couple of questions, not regarding the facts of the case.
Not regarding the facts of the case. I don't understand.
I'd like to know if because we ask victims who are not necessarily cross defendants all the time, if they're afraid of the other person.
No, you can ask her where she lives, though, and if she's got somewhere else to go, should they be ordered to have no contact? Maybe we should ask how long they've been married as well.
Okay.
Right.
Or we can ask the judge to inquire into those issues.
Okay, that's fine.
This young lady's not represented and you represent her husband.
No, I know. And that's a shame that she's not. We need a better conflict attorney program, but that's a different issue.
Right. Ms. Burns?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you understand the obligation of representing yourself is that you're to know the laws and things of that nature if you want to go forward, since we don't have a conflict attorney available. So you know it's risky, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, so hopefully you won't make any statements against your interest, okay?
Okay.
How long have you been married to Mr. Burns?
A little bit over 5 years.
Okay. And you all don't have any children together, is that correct?
Not together.
Okay. So this victim, Kayla, who's 18 years old, is not your daughter?
No, she's his daughter.
His daughter. Okay.
Yes, his daughter.
Okay. And you have somewhere else to go stay for your safety?
No, not right away, but I will be, looking for a place as soon as possible.
Well, I'm not gonna order you, I'm going to order you to not go back to that residence for your safety. You're aware of that, so you're gonna have to find somewhere to go.
Well, I will need to get my, some things, belongings and things.
All right, I'm gonna order a one-time police escort for that. But when you get out, you need to make contact immediately with the police department so that they can escort you to the property to get your personal belongings.
May I speak as well?
But briefly,
Not about
yes.
the facts, not about the facts, okay, so I understand.
What are you going to say?
That I have deep roots in the community, born and raised in Atlanta, graduated from Atlanta Public High School, college, Georgia Tech. I went to law school at University of Georgia. I've been a member of the Georgia State Bar for 18 years. I'm currently a patent attorney with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and I have been with them for 14 years. So respectfully and based on all of that, I would request a bond that a bond be granted on my recognizance.
Okay.
Your Honor, could I ask the court to inquire if she wants to go back home or she's afraid of him, or did they both have very important, they both have very important jobs and we want to save them if we can, if no objection.
Right, I've just gotta make sure that she has.
I understand. I understand.
And so are you in fear of Mr. Burns, Ms. Burns?
I am. Him and his daughter, he and his daughter.
And his daughter both? Do you want to have, and I'm assuming you don't want to have any contact with them, is that correct?
I don't. They threatened my 13-year-old daughter. No, I don't.
Okay, so she was living with you as well?
Yeah, we four all together, two 18-year-olds. I have an 18-year-old son. He has an 18-year-old daughter. He has a 15-year-old son. I have a 13-year-old daughter.
Okay. All right, well, here's what I'm going to order. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order you to stay away from that 6193 Tennis Drive. Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to order no further contact with the victim or the co-defendant, cross-defendant rather, cross-defendant, Mr. Bryant Burns. You all to have no further contact with each other. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I believe that is it. And also no further contact. And I don't know, I think she is listed on the report with Kayla. Kayla's last name?
Burns.
Burns, okay, no further contact with her. And I will grant you need a one-time police escort to go back to the property to get your personal belongings.
Your Honor, I do have a son that's there. Have you can imagine 3 of us moving in there, and so we have lots of items. So I don't, one time police escort to get all of our things. I don't know if that would suffice.
Are you all married?
We are married. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she said they've been married a little over 5 years.
5 years.
I'm assuming you were saying because of your fear of him, you wouldn't even want to go back with the police escort?
Yeah, I would. I just, here's another
So,
thing.
Your Honor, we would request if it's the marital home,
It
we
is
would
the marital
request
home.
a stay away for co-defendant Mr. Burns.
Well, that would entail nobody living there, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't, I assume we're gonna do Mr. Burns next. I don't think he would object to as much time as she needs. To gather.
I hate to put qualifiers on it too.
I know, but it sounded to me like she wasn't necessarily afraid of going back. She just didn't, when she can speak to she was concerned about the amount of time she would need to get her stuff.
Yeah, Miss Burns, how much time would you need to get your things out, or just some immediate things anyway? May not be everything.
Yeah, maybe immediate thing, a couple of days, but then I would need to go back and get our remaining items as soon as I like find a quick little place for us to rent.
Your Honor, if we could just hold this for the end of the calendar, and I'm going to do some research quickly, okay?
Okay.
You guys don't
All right.
mind?
Yeah, let's hold it.
Actually help the prosecutor as well if we did Mr. Burns immediately. So we all have the whole picture. That's okay. If that's okay with Miss Allen. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
ACDC just asked, can I put Mr. McLean and ACDC in a breakout room?
All right.
Spanish interpreter, is that okay?
Yes. Tell him don't take all day. Hi, Miss Chansey.
Hello, Your Honor.
See if you can get them to be quicker than Mr. Cook was. Thank you.
Oh, come on. We have to have a fulsome interview.
I understand.
Or otherwise the bar will jump on us, and that's no fun.
I don't want that, but yeah.
No, no, we don't. None of us.
All right, deputies, who do we have next?
Were we doing Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Just since you've already heard the facts, I'll just give
let's just do Mr. Burns, and then I may hold on ruling, but at least get his case. And thank you, PD. And tell me. Mokake?
Mokake, yes.
Mokake. I was close. I was trying to remember. Sorry about that.
No worries, Your Honor. You have already heard the facts of this case, so I'll just go ahead and present the state's recommendation. I believe this is the first arrest for Mr. Burns as well. The state's recommendation, given the allegations, the $2,000 surety bond, of course, no further contact with the victim, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and deferring, of course, to the court regarding the stay away and who that should apply to.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, deputies, we're going to hold on those two for a second. And who can we do next? Which one again?
Position number 8, Mr. Manuel.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have to bring the I've interviewed him, but we'll have to bring the interpreter into the courtroom too.
Oh, I was trying to get you to do your interview first.
I've done the interview.
Oh,
the interview's done. Yeah.
Oh, but who was going back in the breakout for another one?
That was Mike McLean.
Oh, McLean. Good. I'm sorry, Mr. Cook. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. But we only have one interpreter.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know, Your Honor. I didn't know he was in there.
Oh, yeah. You got.
I didn't either. I'm just as confused.
No, you got me there. If he's in the breakout, if the interpreter's in the breakout room, we can't do her in the courtroom too.
Right.
Yes.
We can go with position number 2, Miss Austin. Yeah.
All right, this is 24. Huh?
I want to make sure. I think Miss Austin needed a sign language.
No, that's
interpret-
not. That's
Oh,
for
okay.
Cooper.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's so many interpreters and a conflict today. I got them confused. Okay, yes, we can do Miss Austin.
All right, 24 CR 0050004B. Damber Yvonne Austin, charged with 1 count of battery family violence. And pretrial.
Was arrested back in February for battery. That's open out of DeKalb County. 2019 trespass dismissed. That's
All right.
all.
Your Honor, this incident occurred June 17th, 2024. The incident location is 1310 Ellsworth Industrial Boulevard Northwest in Atlanta. Officers arrived at the location in response to a disturbance call. Upon arrival, they observed the defendant with a laceration on her head that was bleeding. The defendant stated that she had gotten into an altercation with her child's father, the victim, Trevon Billings. The defendant stated that Mr. Billings was beating her up, and then she later told police that Mr. Billings tried to slam her, so she fought back in self-defense. The defendant was intoxicated at the time and stated that she didn't know what caused the laceration on her head, and she didn't know if defendant Billings had hit her with something. Sorry, Mr. Billings, who is the victim. Mr. Billings was not on scene when the officers arrived, but officers were able to FaceTime him via his mother. Officers did observe several abrasions on Mr. Billings' face through that FaceTime call, and he stated that he did not touch the defendant and that she was the primary aggressor. He stated that he did not know how the defendant obtained that laceration that was on her head. Mr. Billings' mother, Jennifer Birch, advised that the defendant was the aggressor and had been throwing empty liquor bottles at Mr. Billings, and that at one point the defendant threatened to get her gun out of her car. Mrs. Birch further stated that something similar had happened last week, and it normally happens when the defendant has been drinking. Officers were unclear as to who the primary aggressor was, so there may be a warrant out for the victim, Mr. Billings, as well, but we're unsure at this time. The parties do appear to have an open case, 19 CR 005611C. That's a reckless conduct and criminal trespass in which the victim, Mr. Trevon Billings, is the defendant. The case also involves their child. So the parties do have a history. I think the special conditions of that bond were that they were to have no contact with each other. Our office has spoken with Mr. Trevon Billings, who stated that him and the defendant are not in a relationship. They don't live together, but they do, of course, share that one child. The incident location is his residence. He just stated the defendant was intoxicated and he wanted her to leave, and the defendant became irate and began scratching him. Mr. Billings stated that he does want contact with the defendant and he doesn't want to press any charges. However, given the history that they have, as well as that open case, and the facts of this incident, the state is recommending no further contact with the defendant and Mr. Billings, a $1,500 surety bond, stay away from that incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Mr. Trevon Billings.
All right, Trevon
Billings.
Billings. Don't think he's on.
Hello?
Oh, are you, Mr. Trevon Billings, do you wish to make a statement to the court, yes or no?
Do it have to be no contact though? Like, we have a daughter.
Your Honor, Mr. Billings has an open case for violence against this young woman while she had their child with her in a car.
She just don't like me. She just don't like me.
Hold up, Mr. Billings. Hold
She
up.
have pressure with me.
Mr. Billings, Mr. Billings.
So
Please.
there's a safety issue here, Your Honor. He's got
That
3
lady-
cases in state court.
They don't have to do with her though. Like,
Just keep talking.
No, don't. We've done much.
you just don't like me.
Okay. Anything else, counsel?
No, we would just like to Say once again, we think it should be no further contact given their history, given the fact they have an open case that did involve some violence. They need to stay away from each other.
Right. Okay. Let's see, we're still waiting on ASG Allen to bring some other information.
On Miss Tramisha Burns, yes, I'm gonna be submitting a NOD on that case, Your Honor, right now.
Okay, on the whole case?
On her case, yes.
Okay. All right, then Mr. Burns. With you, let's see.
Your Honor, wait a minute, before we jump over there, are we finished with Mr. Austin position 2?
No, I haven't spoken on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Twice.
I got off track. Forgive me. Go ahead and finish, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, my client denies the allegations and the warrant. I'm not sure what's going on with Mr. Billings. I understand there might be a warrant with him. I will say this though. She was picked up last Thursday in Twiggs County, which is Georgia has so many counties, which is near Savannah, and she is not on this charge. In the active warrant, she's seen no judge since last Thursday, and here we are Tuesday, the 23rd. I think that was maybe the Thursday was, help me with my math. I think Thursday was the 18th. So we do have a couple of issues, Riverside and the Georgia 72-hour issue. So we would be seeking a signature bond through the jail.
Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you, Mr. Cook. I was just saying I'm looking at the jail screen and it says that she was arrested on the 22nd at 10:57 and booked on the 22nd at 10:58 a.m. And she was arrested when?
Well, she was picked up. She is telling me she was picked up in Twiggs County on Thursday. She was down there to pay a traffic citation, and they saw the warrant, and she was in Twiggs County until Monday, and Fulton County picked her up on Monday and brought her to Fulton County. But she has been in custody since last Thursday on this charge. That's hard. We don't have the same kind of resources you guys do, so it's hard to know that. And I was not able to confirm that with anybody down there. I tried, but it was just hard to find anybody. It's a small county.
Yeah, well, the jail screen on our end is showing that she was booked on the 22nd on this charge, and that's when she was arrested as well.
Well, that's a big difference, obviously. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I said I tried. I couldn't confirm it. Does it say? Does your information, Madam Solicitor, say from where she was arrested, or was she picked up in Twiggs County? You guys have more information than we do.
I do not see where she was picked up at, no.
Okay, well, that's her position, and that's a hard one to make up if it didn't happen. So that raises obviously Riverside, and then also the Georgia, which is 48 hours, but that we're not saying it was a warrantless arrest. So that brings up the Georgia code, which says 72 hours, and Thursdays is well past 72 hours. But I have no way of, we don't have the same resources that the state has, so.
Your Honor, Riverside is triggered once she's in custody on our charge, just because she was arrested and they let her know she had a warrant, and after she was processed.
No, we're not arguing Riverside. We're arguing 1726-4, OCGA.
Are you done?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So we're looking at the jailing screen and the documents. This isn't something that is like an opinion, okay? She was in custody, yes, but she was not in custody on this charge, and she was transferred into our care, and the documents and the jail booking information is what's correct.
What was she in custody on in Twiggs County?
Didn't you just say it was a citation?
No, I said it was, I was told from her no, she went down there to pay a citation.
Right.
Was arrested based on this warrant.
Okay.
And Wayne County held her on this warrant.
Then we would look into the jailing documents in the Fulton County Jail. Those are the official documents.
Okay, what do they say? I mean, was
What
she
Ms.
picked up?
McCockey just expressed to the court.
Yes, that she was arrested on the 22nd, booked on the 22nd.
Okay, on this charge.
Yes.
And from where was she picked up?
That I do not know, but what I can tell you is
that-
that she was arrested and booked into Fulton County on the 22nd
Okay.
on
well,
this charge.
If she was picked up Monday on Twigs and they held her on, they were holding on this charge. That's a big deal. That's a big difference.
Well, if you can show us something to confirm that, then we will take it
Well,
from
you
there.
know
But as
what?
of now,
Here's the problem. Once
I can only go with what I see.
once the
Hold
government
on.
has her, it's
Trisha.
your obligation to tell us where she came from.
Anything could have happened.
Mr. Billings, please don't.
I'm just asking where from when she came to Fulton County. That's all I'm asking. Was she living at home here in Fulton or was she down in Twiggs County? And that's something you guys know more than I do.
We can review the GCIT and see if the arrest notes what agency arrested
That's fine.
this
That's
young
fine.
lady, but you could also make a phone call and zealously represent your client.
I made a phone call, Miss Allen. Don't tell me how to practice law. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
She's in Your Honor, she's in the custody of the state. They need to know from whence she came.
Yeah. So
I'm
she
sorry,
came from,
Miss Allen, but
if she
don't
came
be a
from
smart aleck
Twig.
with me.
Okay, let's
I'm
not
looking
do
at the
that.
GCIC
Came
now.
from
Let's
Twiggs
not do
County
that
on
today.
Monday, picked up by Fulton County. So she's been in jail in Twiggs County.
We've heard
since
you like
Thursday.
5 times. We're gonna go look at some more documents and see
Go
what
look
they say.
at it.
That's what I'm
Please.
talking about.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
you are.
but I didn't need the smart aleck comment, Miss Allen.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Twiggs County, at this point,
Okay.
what matters is when she got to Fulton County.
That's all I need to know. I didn't need to be told
So,
to
but
represent my client zealously. That's what I'm doing and have done it for hours. Thank
right,
you.
it looks like her case is getting ready to be NOD'd, so.
No,
Just
not
need-
this case, Your Honor.
Oh,
Not
I'm
Miss,
sorry.
not Miss
That was
Deandra.
Burns. That was
Yes.
Burns.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I'm sorry. Wrong person.
Which
All right,
Burns?
let's
No,
go
that's
back.
Tamisha. Okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
different. Okay.
That's different. Let me go back.
The GCIC says the arresting agency, the GCIC I'm looking at right now says the arrest date was July 22nd. The arresting agency is the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay, on the 22nd.
Okay. Well, that doesn't jive with what I have, but that's fine. If that's what you got, then we can go forward without the I'll look further into it down the road, but that's all I have right now. So that's fine. I get it.
All right. So we're on,
Miss Damber Austin, position
Damber Austin.
2.
Yeah, position number 2.
okay. So with her, I think with her history, I'm going to give her a surety bond. She's got the 2 open cases, right? Or 2 open cases. Is that correct?
I know the 2024 battery in DeKalb is open. I'm not sure if the 2019 is open.
Oh. And those, she only had the 2 priors. Those were her 2 priors.
The 2019 criminal trespass was null crossed.
Oh, okay. And then Mr. Cook, she's working?
Yeah, she's working and in school. She works as a service coordinator for Toyota, and she's also in college. So she has and she has a 5-year-old daughter, so she would like to get out as soon as possible.
Okay. Let me give her a $3,000 signature bond. She's got, sounds like pretty good job. She's in school and a 5-year-old. Signature bond through the jail for $3,000.
Thank
No
you.
drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And which do we want? No further contact? with
Yes,
the
Your Honor.
victim?
No
All
further
right.
contact.
No
No
objection
further,
to that,
no
Your Honor.
further contact. And does she need a one-time escort or not? To stay away?
He said the victim stated that was his residence and that they do not live together. So I do not,
Oh,
if she has any items there, I'm not sure.
okay. Miss Austin, can you shake your head? Do you still have any items at that location?
No.
No? Okay. All right, then that'll be it, I guess, if there's nothing else.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Next, we can do position number 9. That's with the interpreter, if the interpreter is available.
All right.
Not getting information.
7. Is it 6? Which
Position
number?
number 9, I'm sorry, position number
Oh.
9 is Martinez.
Is the does she need an interpreter?
Yeah, is the interpreter available?
I do not think so.
She may still be with Mr. McLean in a breakout.
The interpreter's still in the breakout. Please tell them to hurry.
Ms. Burns, back to her case, what, that position number 5, what are we gonna do with her case?
I just submitted a dismissal on that case, Your Honor, and Mrs. Bridgewater.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and do position number 4, Mr. Barnes? Take them back.
All right, we'll come back to, yeah, position 4, Mr. Burns.
Yes, and given that Mrs. Burns's charge has been dismissed, I would ask that the stay away apply to Mr. Burns.
Okay. He can stay away from the residence. Given it was 2,000 surety.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and stay away. And no further contact with the victim.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Do we need to say something about his daughter? Because I think she expressed being in fear of both of them. The 18-year-old daughter, right?
No, sure.
Was that this case?
Yes, we would request that the defendant stay away from Mrs. Burns and anyone in her family, and anyone in his family stay away. They all need to be separate.
That's fine.
Right. Okay.
So what, I'm sorry, what was the final disposition on his bond and the conditions?
2,000 surety.
2,000?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Stay away.
Stay away and no further contact with the victim. And make sure that his 18-year-old daughter doesn't have any further contact with the victim.
Sure, okay.
Let me ask you this, Your Honor. He
Mhm.
stay away. It's my understanding that the children are there too. So how are we gonna do this?
So those are her children and his is the 18-year-old that she's in fear of. So she's 18. I hope she can go live somewhere else.
Because I don't know, didn't know how that was gonna.
Well, they didn't list her as a victim, did they?
No, she's not listed as a
Just
party.
basically a witness, but she was someone who was intimidating the victim.
Right. It is.
So the witness who is his daughter, Kayla Burns, needs to have no further, put in their witness, Kayla Burns needs to have no further contact with the victim, Miss Teresa Burns, on his case, so that he can tell his daughter to leave his wife alone. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right, Ms. McCockey?
Yes, so we would be asking that Kayla Burns, the defendant's daughter, have no further contact with the victim, Trisha Burns. As she would probably have to move out of the residence as well, because it's my understanding that she stays there.
Yeah.
Right. So she needs to stay away.
So I have a 14-year-old in the house, so he'd be there by himself.
I heard him say he has a 14-year-old as well.
It's complicated.
Yes, I'm sorry, if I may speak, and I won't speak on the facts of the case, if I may.
Say that again?
I say, if I may speak, I just want to kind of clarify about the children that are residing in the residence, if I may.
Well, where's their mother?
Deceased.
Deceased.
So,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. I've been living in the residence for 17 years, right? I remarried, and I've been remarried for 5 years. Miss Trisha Willis Burns moved in with me along with her 2 children. So we have two, yes, ma'am. We have 2 18-year-olds, a 15-year-old, and a 13-year-old. The 18-year-old and the 15-year-old are my biological children. So I'm just saying that if we were to leave the house, that would leave my 15-year-old son at a residence there by himself. A residence that, you know.
Well, he wouldn't be by himself. He'd be there with Miss Burns.
Ma'am.
Ooh, it gets complicated. I understand. It's very complicated. I'm trying to figure out who's going to live in this house.
Well, it got kind of complicated when they accused her kind of late, and now they're NOD-ing it. So that's okay. I get it. But yeah, it is a little complicated. So.
Well, it's not as complicated as it sounds. People who are married have cases here all the time.
Is Miss Burns still there, or you all have sent her back? Is she still in courtroom 2? Courtroom 2. Is Miss Burns still there?
No, they took her back.
We would just request that there be no contact.
No further contact.
And she needs to be able to gather her things and her children and go find another place to stay. She reported that.
Yeah, but the problem is, how long is that going to take?
That's not the court's problem. People do it all the time. I imagine.
Well, but I'm asking that he and his children not reside there.
Well, if she does that,
I
know she's not in the courtroom anymore, but if she has no problem or does not fear him, she can take all the time she needs. But she's not in the courtroom.
She said she was afraid.
She said she was afraid of him, right?
I know. Well, that's the problem. If there's only a short-term visit, sounds to me like she needs more time.
Well, it's not a short-term visit. They've been married for 5 years. They've been
No. I mean to get her stuff.
Judge, can I chime in on this for a minute? I don't know whether or not, from my understanding, they are underage children. This is a blended.
They both have, right, a blended
This
family.
is a blended family. The dad is being asked not to go back, but what is he doing with his minor children?
Right, and their mother's deceased.
This here
I get
is.
it. But
so
she
we've
has
got
minor children.
18-year-old children, one for each of them, and a minor child for each of them.
Right.
And they've been married for 5 years. She's been living in this house for 5 years. So it's the marital home.
True.
Right.
And so just like we order all the time, people to have no contact with each other, it is a disruption.
It is.
She has expressed that she is afraid, and she is responsible for the safety of a minor child. So if she's afraid for her safety, then she shouldn't have to leave the home and not have her minor child with her. And she cannot be evicted from the marital home.
Right.
So
he's going to have to, but he has a surety bond. You know, I don't know that I want to give him a signature bond to get out quicker, to have them over there fighting, trying to get out. See, that's what I sense that could be happening when he goes back there. And I don't know, this is maybe not over yet, or cold yet. So I'm going to have to let her and her minor children stay there. Now, I don't know what her relationship is with his 16-year-old, but he's going to need to make some phone calls, and Mr. Cook can help make some calls for him to find out where the 16-year-old can go.
That's
her child? Her child?
His child.
He has a minor child that's going to be in that household.
Right. So all the court needs to do is order that the defendant can return to the home once it's clear that she's left with her children and it's safe for him to do so, and he can abide by the no contact order, the way that
That's fine. That's fine. If the understanding is she is leaving, yes, he can wait and then move in when it's verified.
Right.
And where does his minor child go in the meantime?
He can have contact with his minor child, and his minor child doesn't have to leave the home. The defendant cannot return and have contact with her until she and her children are safely gone.
Okay.
We do this all the time. You may return once it's clear the victim is moving out. It happens all the time in this setting. Your Honor, the defense asks all the time, Your Honor, we know the victim's going to be moving out. She just needs to be able to get her stuff out. He can return to the home.
But ASG Allen, I usually don't have the defendant having minor children that have nowhere to go with a deceased mother. That's the problem.
A 16-year-old or a 14-year-old or 15-year-old?
14, whatever age his child is.
That child doesn't have to go anywhere. They're at home.
Well, but I don't know that she might be in fear of that
We're
child.
just assuming that this child's going to be on the street or something.
Yes, but they'll figure it out. Somebody can do a bond modification if there's a problem, because I feel like I'm unfortunately displacing his minor child, which he was starting to say.
Yeah, and I think
that's not the intent or what a clear reading of an order would say. If we were here today and it was just Mr. Burns on the docket, his bond would be addressed. The court would consider the fact that these folks have been married and that they have a blended family, and they would consider whether or not she should have to go home and be in the home with him and her child there when she is afraid of him and his older daughter, and make an order that addresses that accordingly. Nobody's ejecting any children from any homes. We're saying, Mr. Burns, no ma'am, Mr. Burns needs to not go home until he makes sure she's out. They'll figure it out. They're grown-ups. Neither of them have ever been arrested before. She says she doesn't want to stay there.
That's fine. Let's move along.
Yeah, we have no objection to him waiting until she moves out, if ever, and then moving back in. And I don't think the 16-year-old is a threat one way or the other.
Hopefully not. If he is, she can call the police on him.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Your Honor, if I was, my son is in fear of her. My son was present. I'm sorry.
What is he saying? I cannot hear. His son is what?
My son is the minor child, the 15-year-old, and he's just as afraid. So what I'm saying is, she's going home. He's there now, right? I just don't know what to do, and I don't know how long. And I'm a little curious as to how long she will have before she moves out before I come home.
I can't give her a time limit.
Are we saying the child in the home of Mr. Burns is afraid, or we're worried the victim is afraid?
Both.
Okay, well, I don't have anything in a report that says anything about any other children besides Kayla, the 18-year-old. I have nothing in front of me that says any children are afraid. Mrs. Burns did not say she was afraid of any children, or she has an ill will towards any children.
Well, she said she was afraid of the 18-year-old. She did not mention being afraid of the 15-year-old.
She did not mention anything about 15-year-old child.
Mr. Burns, if you feel more comfortable picking up your 15-year-old, you're going to have to find a place to live anyway for a while.
Right. Take the 15-year-old with you. Or find somewhere for him to go. He says, okay. All right, let's move on.
How do I get him if I can't go to the home?
You need to call Mr. Cook and let him help you. Or ask the police to help you get him. Okay?
So let me ask.
The police can go there for you and get him and bring him to wherever you are. Okay?
30 years, don't tell me how to practice.
Do we need to add something in the bond about that?
Yeah, let me just get to this bond. For the sake of this bond order, it's a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Trisha Burns, and for him to stay away from the address. Anything else to go on this order that I need to put?
Yes, put the witness, Kayla Burns or Burns, is to have no further contact with the victim, Miss Burns, whatever her first name is, Trisha Burns. Because if you don't add that, she'll try to stay there and intimidate her. I know that.
Okay, well then, in that case, this is on Bryant Burns. Kayla The stepdaughter is also not to have any further contact with Miss Trisha Burns.
Correct.
Okay,
It
got
needs to go on both of them, if you ask me. I mean, on his, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot. Hers is NOD.
So should we rewrite the NOD to reflect that on the null pause, or I mean, that's really.
Nobody's going to see that.
The basic is that there's no contact. And so Mr. Burns is in charge of him and his family. So just like when we say to someone, you can have no contact with this person through a third party, through electronics, through anything.
Okay.
That means he cannot have contact with this woman, his wife, through his daughter. And I think at this point, we should all be on the same page. It's in his daughter's best interest not to have contact with this lady.
That's
right.
Yeah.
We're ordering
and
Mr.
he
Burns
needs-
to make
right.
sure he and his family have no contact.
Stay away from this woman.
And
Right.
she has specifically said the witness in this case, Kayla, is someone she's fearful of.
Right. That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Ms. Bridgewater.
Yes, ma'am.
Is today Friday?
No, we wish.
It's just Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get through it. I promise. Miss Chancey, you ready? Who do we have next, deputies? Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Your Honor, I do have a request.
Uh-oh.
Could I have Miss Ellen call my desk phone and just have a 3-minute conversation with her? I'll mute myself here. So, call 404-612-5215.
Couldn't hear that. Say it again.
404-612-5215.
5205.
No, 5215.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Who do we have?
Hey, I got to call you back. Is everything okay?
Miss Bridgewater, you're not muted.
We can do the interpreter case.
Interpreter case, which one?
Miss Martinez, position number 9.
Thank you.
And I have a question about the ASL. Are we gonna have one today?
About the who?
The ASL. interpreter?
Sign language.
I heard that case. It says it's being reset.
Okay, that's fine.
It
We'll
can
try
be
again
reset to tomorrow.
What
It's not
position
a.
is that?
That would be
know.
position number 7.
Okay.
It's not a Riverside issue.
I don't think so. If we can get it in tomorrow,
Okay.
but it would probably be a Riverside issue anyway because I think there's a warrant. But if there's extraordinary circumstances, it's not a Riverside issue.
Right. Okay. Ms. Chancey, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm that you're going to interpret from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, to the best of your abilities with no embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I'm worn out. I don't even know what I said anymore, but I know
You did well. You did good.
you will do fine. Okay. All right. Let's call this case. Hold on. Move my calendar. Which case is it? 8 or 9?
Should be 9.
9. 24 CR 00501-F. Evelyn Martinez, charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence.
Caso 24 CR 005012F, Evelyn Martínez, con un cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
Pre-trial.
Servicios previos al juicio.
Second arrest, 2019, illegal alien.
Este es el segundo arresto. Hubo otro en el 2019 por inadmisibilidad residencial.
All right. State?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred July 22nd, 2024. The defendant is accused of slapping the victim, her sister-in-law, Evelyn Reyes.
Este incidente ocurrió el 22 de julio del 2024. La acusada le dio una palmada a... I'm sorry, can you repeat the name, please?
Yes, let me actually make sure that I have the right name. Yes, the victim's name is Evelyn Reyes.
A Evelyn Reyes. Go ahead, please.
The parties were arguing over cookware, and the defendant did admit to slapping Ms. Reyes. The parties had been living together for 1 year.
Ellas discutieron acerca de utensilios de la cocina y la acusada admitió haberle dado una palmada en la cara.
The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services. Because we have not spoken with the victim, at this time, the state is recommending no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right.
Debido a que no hemos podido contactar a la víctima, se recomienda una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, que la acusada no tenga ningún tipo de contacto con la víctima, que se mantenga distanciada del lugar del incidente, que se registre en un programa de manejo de la ira y se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
All right, I'm going to grant the signature bond, $3,000 signature bond. Will you take her pretrial?
It doesn't matter. That's fine.
Okay.
What was the incident? What was the stay away location again?
725 Sonoya Road in
No,
Fairview.
that's where she lives.
Yes,
Is
that
that
is
where
also where the victim lives.
The victim is whom to her?
the
Her
mother-in-law?
sister-in-law.
Oh, sister-in-law. I'm sorry.
Sister-in-law? Does she have another place to go stay?
Not that I know of. I asked. Could we do no further violent contact?
Well,
Because
they
we
gonna be
haven't
there?
spoken to the victim yet, and so because we haven't spoken to her to confirm that's something she's comfortable with, at this time, we're not comfortable with no further violent contact.
That's
No
what I usually
estamos-
do until you all can show me that one of them can leave. I don't want to send her right back. Not been an ample cooling off period. It's less than 24 hours.
No estoy dispuesta a dar una recomendación o orden de no tener contacto violento porque no se ha hablado con la víctima y esto no ha ocurrido solamente 78 horas atrás. Está todo todavía muy reciente.
Can she answer that? Does she have somewhere else to go live, Miss Chancey?
¿Tiene un lugar a donde ir a quedarse, señora? ¿Otro lugar? She's muted, I believe. ¿Puede ir a otro lugar a quedarse, señora?
Oh, sí.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
She does. Okay, good. And then she can
Muy
stay
bien.
away from the incident location and no further contact with her sister-in-law, the victim.
Usted está muy bien. Usted debe permanecer en otro lugar y no tener contacto alguno con su cuñada.
Pero la que renta la casa soy yo, a mí me la han rentado, o sea que yo les rento a ellos.
But the house was rented to me. Actually,
I understand.
they
Tell her
rent.
until
I rent them a
right.
room.
Until we talk to the victim, because she's the one with the criminal case of the charges, she's going to have to stay away until we can talk to her sister-in-law.
Va a tener que permanecer alejada hasta que podamos hablar con su cuñada.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Position 11. with-
Sorry, Your Honor, sorry, Your Honor, what was the bond amount for?
Yeah, I didn't get the bond either.
3,000
Yeah.
S&B, pretrial, level 1.
Entonces la fianza es de $3,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio bajo el nivel 1.
And then I have a question about the ASL interpretation.
Uh-huh.
She's able to read and type, so if they can do her interview through a breakout, we can do the case today, because she could read the closed captions.
It's 14. How many more do we have?
10.
Huh?
10.
We have 10 more cases.
I think I counted about 10.
And how would that work?
I would, Your Honor, that's my client. I would really prefer a professional signing person.
I know, because
understand.
you're gonna have to write everything out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he would, Mr. Cook would talk, and we have closed captionings that is.
Oh, I
you're
mean,
talking
I
about put
can,
on the
I can
closed
speak
caption.
to, okay, I can speak to
Yeah.
her. Well,
She could
I
just
guess we can
respond.
see how that works. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
We got 8 left. I'm sorry. I'm delusional. You have to excuse me.
so am I. So am I. All
Are the
right.
remaining 8 Mr. Cook's clients?
Any others for signature bonds that we can speed along?
Position 11 here at ACDC with the Spanish interpreter.
That's Mr. McLean's client.
Mr. McLean's back.
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready. Everybody's ready on that. It'll be rather.
All right, 24 CR 005006A.
Este es el
Maryland.
caso 24 CR 005006A.
Is that Maryland Porta?
Marilyn Puerta.
Charged of 1 count of battery family violence.
Un cargo de golpes y lesiones y violencia familiar.
Is this your case, ASG Allen?
Este es su caso, señor Allen.
It is.
Sí.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Second arrest. Illegal alien out of Texas as well. That's all.
Ese segundo arresto, el previo fue por inadmisibilidad de residencia en el estado de Texas.
All right.
This
Go
is
ahead.
an incident that occurred on the 21st of July.
Esto ocurrió el 21 de julio.
Police responded to 7,000 Roswell Road at about 11:30 p.m.
La policía respondió al 7000 de Roswell Road más o menos a las 11 de la noche.
The victim in this case, her name is Osnelli, and I'll spell it. Osneyli. Last name Quintana.
La víctima en este caso es Osnelli Quintana.
The documents that we have state that the victim reported being struck in her face by Mrs. Puerta.
La víctima, nuestros documentos muestran que la víctima declaró que ella fue golpeada en la cara por la señora Puerta.
Victim Quintana had a injury to her right eye visible. That would be the basis of the battery.
Ella tenía una lesión en el ojo derecho que era visible y que dio motivo para este arresto.
Would be following the recommendation from pretrial. No violent contact or no contact whatsoever, depending on the living situation.
A través de los servicios previos al público, al al juicio se recomienda no tener más contacto alguno con la víctima o no tener más contacto violento, depende cómo sea la situación de vivienda.
All right.
Muy bien.
I
This case,
was thinking, Your Honor, this was the first arrest, but
Estaba pensando que este era el primer arresto.
does the state need to go forward?
¿Necesita la fiscalía continuar? No.
no.
Okay.
My information is the same.
Okay. Your Honor, the additional facts that we would add have to do with Miss Puerta's cousin is the husband of the alleged victim in this case.
Su señoría, la información adicional que tenemos es que el primo de la señora Puerta es el esposo de la víctima.
At 11:30 at night, she was hearing through the wall that her cousin, that is to say, the alleged victim's husband, was getting arrested.
A las 11:30 de la noche, la acusada escuchó a través de la pared que el primo estaba siendo arrestado.
Can't tell if that was on that scene or being arrested somewhere else and the news was coming through.
No estoy segura si estaba siendo arrestado ahí o si lo estaba escuchando a través de las noticias.
Suffice it to say that there was a lot of yelling and people being upset.
Es suficiente decir que había un montón de gritos y gente muy angustiada.
This is key.
And I think that the altercation between these two childhood friends.
Hang on, I have to mute the.
Okay. The altercation between these two childhood friends, I think, ultimately, I hope can be a diversion program.
Los alegatos entre estas dos amigas de la infancia, ojalá pudieran ser tratadas por un programa de desviación.
My client is a homemaker with one child.
Mi cliente es una ama de casa con una menor.
Approximately August 20th, they plan to move to a different town 4 hours away for her husband's work. He's getting a better paying job.
El 20 de agosto ellos se van a ir a vivir a 4 horas de aquí por trabajo, que el esposo tiene un nuevo trabajo.
So I would ask the court to consider the possibility of a signature bond through the jail.
Por eso estaba tratando de solicitar a su señoría si pudiera otorgar una fianza bajo firma a través de la cárcel.
Because on an earlier case, I've got the impression that would be a good bit faster and less involved and that sort of thing.
Debido a otro caso anterior, vi que de esa manera es más conveniente, ya que hay menos involucración y el proceso es más rápido.
And that's everything.
Eso es todo.
All right. $3,000 signature bond through the jail.
Una fianza entonces de $3,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
Stay away from 7,000 Roswell Road, which looks okay.
Y mantenerse alejada del domicilio 7000 Roswell Road, lo que parece estar de acuerdo.
And so she's moving to another town. I guess she'll be gone. So
that's going to get
no
20
further
days.
contact with the victim.
Ella no tener más contacto con la víctima. Creo que si se muda, todo va a estar bien.
That's through the jail?
Yes.
Could the translator please advise her or just make sure that she understands that she cannot go back to apartment, what is it, 7 Roswell Road. She can't go back to apartment 304 at 7,000 Road. That the next move she has to make is to that other town.
Ok, señora, me piden que le asegure que usted entiende que usted no puede regresar al departamento 304 del 7000 Roswell Road hasta que se
Pero
mude.
es que ella se fue del apartamento.
She left the apartment.
All right, good. She won't have a problem staying away.
Entonces no va a tener problemas para mantenerse distanciada.
No, ella se fue del apartamento. Ella ya se fue del apartamento.
She has left the apartment.
Well, I would advocate for her, for the defendant to be able to return if that's true. Is there any way to confirm that?
¿Hay alguna manera de confirmar que ella se ha ido?
Esa misma noche ella salió.
She left that same night.
All right. I don't know where this is leading. I don't know that it's relevant at this point. Just as long as she's gone. Well, let's move on.
Okay.
They'll sort the rest of it out later.
Very, very good.
Muy bien.
Next.
What was that bond amount?
3,000 jail.
We can go to position number 15.
Is that it for Miss Chansey?
Nope.
No.
We have one more, but Mr. Cook is in the breakout.
Oh, Lord. Trying to get poor Miss Chansey off of here.
That's
Y'all had these problems yesterday too?
Oh, my goodness. Did they?
I'm asking.
No.
It was Judge Williams yesterday. I'm going to call her and tell her.
No, it was Judge Morrow, but we had a whole different list of problems.
Oh, but you had problems. Okay.
We had problems.
I don't feel singled out, maybe.
Not at all.
Or
We're gonna
unlucky.
get through this. Let's go. Here we go.
All right. We can't get Miss Chansey off because he's in the breakout. Tell him don't take too long again. I'm going to send that message.
That's ASL, though.
Yeah. All right. We're 14. 13.
We could just go to position number 3.
3. Okay. I'm way off. Okay.
It's a
Whose
conflict.
case is this?
It's Owen's case, Your Honor, because they represented the conflict earlier, Miss Williams. So
Yeah.
he'd like to go pro se.
Pro se. All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Barton, you understand what it means to go pro se and represent yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And hopefully you won't make any statements against your interest, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. 24 CR 005003G. Is it Siobhan Barton?
Shavon.
Shavon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Charge at 1 count of battery family violence. Pretrial.
This is 10th arrest, 2023 suspended license. Appears to have open cases out of Henry County. Theft by taking, forgery, financial transaction, card fraud, suspended license. I think the last violent charge I saw was in the 90s.
Okay. All
Would
right,
you like me
Stacey,
to go over the facts again, Your Honor?
please. I'm sure I've forgotten.
This incident occurred at the Washington Food Mart. Upon arrival, officers spoke with Miss Teresa Williams, who stated that on her way back from work, she stopped at the Washington Food Mart at East Point. While she was there, her boyfriend, the defendant, Mr. Barton, approached her and struck her in the face. Miss Williams did have a bruise on her face. Defendant Barton states that he noticed Miss Williams wasn't home and went to the food mart to get a cigar at 3 a.m. When he saw her inside, he stated, "Look what I found." And then Miss Williams struck him in the face and he reacted by hitting her back. Defendant Barton had a bruise on his face as well, so both parties were placed under arrest. Given the defendant's history, the state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond. No further contact with the victim. anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And I believe Ms. Williams stated earlier that she has somewhere to go. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So we will not be requesting a stay away.
Help me remember someone?
The Mrs. Williams was given a one-time escort. She's got somewhere else to go. She's gonna stay in the location.
I think I remember. Thank you. PD McLean? Oh no, he's pro se. I'm sorry. All right. So Mr. Barton, I don't know that I have many questions for you, except that you know, without you talking about the facts, this is not your trial. I'm not for sure what you would say, but do tell me, how old are you?
46.
46. And you were dating Miss
William.
Williams?
Yes.
Okay. And you all were residing together?
Yes.
Okay. Do you work?
Yes.
Where?
I work at the escort service. I do set up exhibits and shows, like trade shows, to come through the city, Congress Center, different hotels and stuff like that.
Okay. How long you've been doing that?
Years, at least 8 years or more.
Okay. And you're from Georgia?
I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I've been living in Georgia all my life.
Okay. All right. So we'll know how to contact you and you'll come back to court.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to give him a $2,000 surety bond. And mainly it's because of the history and the open cases that I will not give him a signature bond, but a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with Miss Williams. And I guess I don't need to do the stay away because she's leaving. But do I need to put on there he cannot go there till he makes sure that she is moved? Okay, so if you go back there and you open that door and you see that she's still there, you back yourself out, go back in another few days or ask somebody else to check for you so you don't get arrested. But I'm going to allow you to live there once you know that she has cleared that residence and does not live there again. Understand that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor. I was I was already gonna move down the street with my brother because our kids stay there too, and they go to school there.
Oh, you have minor children?
One that's 12 years old that's there, and her 2 little boys.
Okay, she didn't mention that, did she?
No, not that.
Yeah, I don't believe she mentioned it. Okay, well, maybe she's got a plan and it's all worked out. I don't know what else I can order at this point. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Right.
Okay, anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, can I state one thing? Cause I just paid my bills and stuff, can I get a signature bond? I just literally just paid all my bills.
You have the 2 open cases in Henry County?
It's only one open case, and it's a pending indictment. It's been for 2 years though. It's been open for 2 years.
I understand. I'm not concerned about it being open. I'm concerned that you have criminal history and not a clean history, and it's not your first or second arrest, it's your 10th arrest.
I never been convicted of anything. I wasn't convicted of none of them arrests.
Well, I look at both convictions and number of arrests, which tells me whether or not you have an issue with the law. And I don't really like the facts of this case either. The facts concern me.
I understand.
However they happen. I think the state recommended 1,500. I'll bring it down to 1,500.
Right.
But I'm going to stick with the surety bond, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Next, we go to position number 15, Mr. Summer.
Well, that's an entrance.
Roderick Summer.
Hi.
What holiday?
This is 24 CR 005016Y. Roderick Summers, charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting. Pretrial.
First arrest, jail with the recommendation.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's my case.
Okay.
This is a theft by shoplifting case, Your Honor. This is a incident in Sandy Springs. Warrant was obtained on the 20th of July, 8 p.m. at the Target at 5600 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. The defendant and a co-defendant were seen coming into the location without any items on their person. They got a cart and walked to the electronics area and put a TV, a Vizzo TV that's a 24-inch TV, into the cart, walked around, put a couple pillows in the cart, and then went to customer service. They tried to return the TV that they'd just taken off the shelf and were denied that request. They purchased the 2 pillows and then walked out of the location and put the pillows and the TV in their vehicle. The information on the vehicle was run through the system, surveillance was reviewed, and both people were identified. Mr. Summers, let's see, was spoken to, I believe, by the police, but warrants were obtained on July the 20th, 2024. So this is a single count of shoplifting, taking the merchandise without the intention to return it.
All right.
We would agree with the recommendation from pretrial, Your Honor. This is a first arrest.
All right, I'm inclined to do the signature bond through the jail.
I'm sure he would have no objection to that.
Just stay away from the Target at 5600 Roswell Road, please.
All right. All right, I'll make it a $2,500 signature bond through the jail, and stay away from the Target. Okay.
Thank you.
Huh? Next.
The rest is Mr. Cook's clients, and we're just waiting for him to come back.
Miss Grace, can you check on him?
Okay. They're coming out, Judge.
Thank you.
While we're waiting, did we say position number 17 is going to be reset too on tomorrow? For the sign language interpreter?
That's not the one.
They're in the breakout right now.
The 17 is in the breakout. The one for the sign language is,
No, 17 is not in the breakout. That is position, the one that's in the breakout is position number.
Ms. Bridgewater, you are correct, though. There may be an issue.
Position 7.
7 is the sign language. Hooper?
Yes, and I
Reset to the
believe
mark.
Ms. Valdez might also be the sign language.
Right,
And
because
might also
they
be,
were talking, they were deaf. That's why I was asking if
Oh,
one.
it's 2 of them.
yes.
Yes.
17 bond was paid, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. And they would
Oh,
need a
17
conflict
bonded
attorney as
out.
well.
Okay, so 17's bond was paid. Let me mark mine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's good you asked, Ms. Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in the set.
Okay.
We're just trying to buy time, Deputy.
Okay, they're back.
Okay.
You guys wanna go ahead and do 7?
7.
Yes.
This is Deandra Hooper, 24 CR 005009J.
Excuse
This
me,
is
Judge. Is
no,
position
not
number
7.
7? What, yeah.
Not 7.
This
Yes.
must be 6. Is it 6?
No, Hooper, 7.
I thought that was the one that needed the interpreter.
Yes, that's correct.
We just did the sign language interpreter. We just finished it. So we're ready.
So there
So we
is
don't
one
need to
sitting
have a
next to
closed
her.
caption?
I'm sorry?
So what are we doing? There is
What-
not an interpreter. and
No,
it's
no,
closed
no,
caption?
no. We did it by caption and
Okay.
we're ready to go. Thank you.
Okay. This is Deandra Hooper, 24 CR 005009J, charged with 1 count of affray and a 2nd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Pre-trial.
Third arrest, 2011, out of Dallas, Texas. Assault causing bodily injury, family member. So that's DV. That was a conviction. And she's a resident of Dallas, Texas.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred July 22nd, 2024 at Magic City, located at 2414 Forsyth Street in Atlanta. Defendant Hooper and Defendant Valdez are accused of fighting each other in the Magic City parking lot. The officer did observe the 2 women fighting, and upon speaking with Defendant Hooper, she advised that Defendant Valdez came to the Greyhound to fight her because Ms. Hooper had allegedly talked badly about Ms. Valdez's children. As officers were trying to detain Ms. Hooper, she snatched her arm away, pushed the officer's hands away from her, and started to run away. The officer fell to the ground with Ms. Hooper, and another officer had to come assist in detaining her. The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from the incident location, Magic City, no further contact with Rhea Valdez, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Can you all handle this defendant pretrial?
SOB jail is fine with me.
All right.
Okay.
I'll do a signature bond through jail. What do you say, Mr. Cook?
That's fine. Given her impairment, that might be the best way to go.
Okay. All right. I will give a $2,500 signature bond through jail. With that signature bond and stay away from the Magic City. No further contact with the is it cross defendant?
Yes.
Cross defendant Valdez. They need to stay away from each other, no further contact. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. That's it.
Judge,
What?
break down that bond, please.
I'm sorry?
Break the bond down.
Oh, 2,000 on the obstruction and 500 on the affray.
Thank you.
Huh?
Next, we can do position number 8. This is the last interpreter case, and that is Mr. Manuel.
This is 24 CR 005010C, Juan Manuel, charged with 1 count of battery family violence.
Este es el caso 24CR005010C, un cargo de violencia familiar.
Pre-trial?
First arrest.
First?
Yes.
Okay.
Primera
Wait.
arresto. La fiscalía.
This incident occurred July 22nd, 2024 at 23 Brevard Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, when officers responded to a physical dispute call.
Este incidente ocurrió el 22 de julio del 2024 en el 23 Brevard Avenue, en donde la policía respondió a un llamado debido a una disputa física.
Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Dulce de la Cruz, who was sitting in her car, visibly shaken and crying.
Al llegar, las oficiales se contactaron con la víctima Dulce de la Cruz, quien estaba en un auto temblando dentro de él.
She stated that she was asleep when the defendant woke up angry and began shouting at her.
Ella declaró que estaba dormida cuando el acusado se despertó enojado, gritándole.
The defendant was accusing her of having relations with someone else, and the argument escalated, and the defendant slapped the victim across the face.
El acusado la acusó de tener relaciones con alguien más y la disputa comenzó a ponerse peor y peor, terminando él dándole una palmoteada en la cara.
When the victim tried to leave, the defendant pushed her and hit her 2 more times in the face.
Cuando la víctima trató de irse, el acusado la empujó y golpeándola de nuevo 2 veces en la cara.
The officer observed a large bruise on the victim's face as well as scratches on her arm.
El oficial observó un moretón en la cara, al igual que rasguños en el brazo.
The state's recommendation, given the facts of this case, is a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
La fiscalía, debido a los hechos de este caso, recomienda una fianza de $2,000 bajo garantía, no tener más contacto alguno con la víctima, mantenerse distanciado de la residencia, de registrarse en el programa de manejo de la ira y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
All right. PD Cook?
Yeah, could I ask the solicitor again what she has down as the incident location?
Quisiera revisar la dirección.
I have 23 Brevard, BREVARD Avenue, Southwest Atlanta.
Okay. We have no objection to the conditions. We would like a one-time law enforcement officer visit to see if the alleged victim has left. He's under the opinion that she was moving out. So either one time to gather his belongings or one time to see if she's out, and if she's gone, then he could move back in.
No tenemos ninguna objeción con las condiciones, pero sí quisiera solicitar que se le otorgue una oportunidad para ver si la víctima se ha ido o para recoger sus pertenencias personales.
Beyond that, we would be seeking a signature bond, and we would object to the anger management course.
Continuando, solicitamos una fianza bajo firma y objetamos la registración a un programa de manejo de la ira.
For the court, my client has lived here in the area for about 3 years. He has worked in the plumbing industry for about 5 years. He is a high school graduate.
Para información de la señora jueza, él ha estado viviendo en el área de Atlanta durante 3 años, ha trabajado en el campo de la plomería y él se graduó de la escuela secundaria.
All right. I'm going to order a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, but the defendant is ordered to take a police escort to the property. They sweep the property, determine that there are no belongings there of the victim, then he can stay. If not, he needs to leave and wait until the victim has completely moved from the property. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Ordenó una fianza de $3,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel, no tener más contacto con la víctima, debe llevar un oficial de policía como escolta, ir a la propiedad y revisar si hay propiedades todavía, alguna propiedad de la víctima. Él debe recoger sus pertenencias personales. Y si no hay propiedades de la víctima, él puede quedarse. No se prohíbe el uso de drogas y alcohol y armas durante este tiempo de fianza.
Ok, pero ella ya recogió todas el día de los hechos recogió todas sus cosas.
On the incident day, she took all her things.
Okay, but Mr. Manuel, you still need a law enforcement officer to accompany you to verify that she no longer lives there.
Sí, señor. Pero usted necesita ir con un oficial de policía para confirmar de que que ella no vive ahí.
Okay,
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Well, let me follow up just so you fully.
Mi teléfono, no me sé ni un número, y no sé.
I don't want to lose my phone. I don't even remember one phone number.
Okay, that's in the property office. They'll give you that back when you bond out.
Okay, está en la sala de propiedades y se lo darán cuando usted salga.
Okay, y mis compañeros están como a las 8 o 7 de la tarde porque ellos llegan de trabajar y yo no tengo ni una llave para abrir la casa.
My roommates, they don't get out of work until 8 and I don't have a key. I need to contact them.
No, well, he can contact them when he bonds out.
Usted puede contactarlo cuando usted salga.
But the most important part is he can go back and stay if Miss De La Cruz is not there and has moved out. If she is there, he has to find another place to live. Correct me, solicitors, if I misstated that.
That's correct.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
As long as she's living there, he has to stay away.
Lo más importante es que usted debe observar y reconfirmar de que la señora de la Cruz ya se mudó. Y si no se ha mudado, usted debe buscar otro lugar a donde vivir.
You have a signature bond.
Usted tiene una fianza bajo firma.
So you don't need anybody to bond you out.
Usted no necesita a nadie que venga a pagarle la fianza para salir.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I hope I reported that accurately. If I didn't, somebody let me know.
No, that's it.
Thank you.
Next, we could do position number 1, Mr. Ahmad.
May the interpreter be dismissed, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
All
Have a
right,
good
thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, this is 24 CR 0050002Y, Rashad Ahmad, charge of 1 count of battery family violence, pretrial.
20 total on probation in Fayette County, ag assault. Open case out of the DeKalb, criminal damage to property in the 1st degree, cruelty in the 3rd. Another open case in DeKalb, 6 counts of entering auto, 1 count theft by taking. Open case in Fulton, 2 counts of entering auto, criminal damage to property, theft by taking. 22 CP 206044. Open case out of Clayton County, 2 counts criminal trespass, 1 count ag assault. 2024 FTA, 2021 FTA. That's it.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred June 9th, 2024. The incident location is 495 Parkway Drive Northeast in Atlanta. The victim in this case, Ms. Kamaya Jones, shares a child with the defendant. The victim, Ms. Jones, states that the defendant arrived at her home earlier that morning and fell asleep. When he woke up, he became upset because he thought the victim had gone through his phone. The parties began to argue, and the defendant pushed the victim's head into the wall, then threw her on the bed and punched her arm. The victim did manage to get off the bed, but the defendant grabbed her and threw her into the closet, then hit her several more times with his hands. The victim did sustain a scratch to her face. Our office has spoken with this victim, who states that her and the defendant are not in a relationship. They do not live together, and they do share 1 child. The incident location is her residence. She confirmed the events in the warrant and stated she was 6 to 8 weeks pregnant at the time the defendant assaulted her. Unfortunately, the victim did suffer a miscarriage, but she states that it is not the result of this incident. She further stated this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards her. They have an open case in DeKalb, which I believe is that criminal damage to property and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. The victim said that the defendant showed up to her home again on July 9th and assaulted her again. She called the police and made a report of the incident, so we are on the lookout for that warrant. The victim stated the defendant showed up on her house again yesterday at 5 a.m. and threatened her. She had to call the police, and that is how the defendant was arrested on the June 9th, 2024 warrant. She states the defendant has threatened her and her family. The defendant is violent. She is afraid that he will kill her. The victim wants no contact, of course, and wants the defendant to stay away from her residence. The state's recommendation is a $3,500 surety bond. No further contact with this victim, her child, or her family members. Stay away from the incident location. Anger awareness. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol. The defendant has a violent history, and we are very concerned for this victim's safety. And I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Ms. Kamaya Jones.
All right, is Miss Kamaya Jones on the Zoom? I think I see someone with that name.
Yes.
Do you wish to address the court today, yes or no?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you. You can mute yourself. All right, PD Cook, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 24 years old. He's lived in the area his entire life. He is working, although he just started about 2 months ago, so he does not have a lot of money to meet a surety bond. I think the maybe the solicitor related this. They share a child together. I think he's more or less the primary provider, although I'm not sure. Beyond that, Your Honor, obviously we don't have GCICs and that kind of thing. So I would rely from here on out on the discretion of the court.
Okay. How old is he again?
He's 24.
24. I'm going to order with that history, $2,500 surety bond. I'm going to order him to stay away from the incident location. No further contact with the victim, Kamaya Jones. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks.
We got a seat in the back row. Next, we can go to position number 6, Mr. Espinosa. Espinosa.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Position 6.
6. Okay.
Well, I hope we did okay.
Huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Perfect English. Okay.
This is 24 CR 0050078. Edward Espinosa, charged with 1 count of simple battery, 2nd count of criminal trespass, 3rd count public drunk.
4th arrest, 2022 trespass conviction, 2022 hit and run, 2021 discharge of a firearm conviction. That's all.
Okay.
This incident occurred April 14th, 2024 at 122 Creekside Way in Roswell and 1325 Creekside Way in Roswell. I believe that is the crossing at Holcomb Bridge apartment complex. The defendant is accused of being intoxicated in public and acting in a boisterous and unruly manner. He is seen on ring camera smoking an unknown substance from a clear glass device and knocking on multiple doors of strangers' apartments and soliciting sexual acts from the occupants. He further is accused of flicking Vicente Castillo's nipple and entering and remaining in the residence of 1325 Creekside Way after being told multiple times to leave. The state's recommendation on the simple battery is $1,000 surety bond, $500 on the criminal trespass, and $500 on the public drunk. No further contact with Vicente Castillo. Stay away from the crossing at Holcomb Bridge apartment complex. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And I would ask the court to sound for Mr. Vicente Castillo.
Mr. Vicente Castillo. I don't think any outside people are left. And so you said the state's recommendation was 2,000 surety?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, go ahead, PD Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 22 years old. He's lived in this area his whole life. He is not currently working. We have no objection to the conditions of the bond, but we would be seeking a signature bond through whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay. I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond, 1,000 on the simple battery, 500 on the criminal trespass, and 500 on the public drunk. With that surety bond, no further contact with the victim, and I guess to stay away from the incident location or not?
Yes,
no
Your
dr-
Honor, we did request
and-
to stay.
Okay,
fine.
and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And
Donna,
that's
I think that completes the calendar.
Really?
Really? Finally?
Yeah.
I lost count.
Over.
Please.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have some questions, because I'm keeping our calendar. And I was in and out and I'll get the details from the, well, I guess I'll get details from Mike when I was in the breakout room.
Breakout.
We're fine.
She'll go over them. I mean, it's
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, well, here we go. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is August the 6th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 good bond. 4, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 5 was null prost. 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 7, reset further notice with a total $2,500 SOB through the jail. 8, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 10, reset further notice with a total $2,500 SOB through the jail. 11, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. 13 is reset further notice with a total $2,500 SOB through the jail. 14, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. 15, reset further notice with a $2,500 SOB through the jail. 16 is going to the SAP calendar with an $8,000 split bond. 17 is reset further notice as the defendant was released. And 18 is reset further notice with a $2,500 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
What was, oh, nothing. I wrote it on the wrong one. It was one that I made sure, wanted to be sure of number.
You changed the bond amount on one. I believe it was number 3. You had originally said 2,000, but then you changed it to a $1,500 good bond.
And then 4, what did I do on 4?
4 is a $3,000 SOB through the jail.
Okay. All right.
Others
I'm
speak now.
clear. Anybody else? Thank you guys for your patience and tolerance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All
Mr.
right,
Cook,
bye-bye.
quick question. Do you have access to the jailing docs in Odyssey?
I have some access to Fulton County.
Right.
I will, yeah, sincerely, I'll write you an email on this. I apologize for barking, but you know.
Because I can provide you with documents as we get them in with the warrants and stuff that come in, and those, like today, were stamped with when somebody's received.
I know that, but you don't know where they're received from, so I guess.
Well, it says Twiggs County. It says Twiggs County.
Okay. I'll send you an email.
Okay.
I appreciate
Have a great day,
that.
guys.
You
All
too.
right, you
Thank you very
too.
much.
All right, bye-bye.